Hey guys, Agent here, back with another tutorial. Today we're going to talk about matrices. The first thing we're going to talk about is what a matrix is. The second thing is we're going to find out what makes up a matrix. And the last thing, we're going to see if you guys can do matrices by yourself after we're done. So let's get started.
So the question I get is, so what is a matrix? As I write down the example, I will give you a definition. So a matrix is a set of numbers where each number in the matrix has their own job, and without one of the numbers, it wouldn't be the matrix. So now that we know what a matrix is, let's talk about what makes up a matrix. So a matrix has a row, and it also has a column. And an easy way to tell the difference between the two is that a row is going to go from side to side or left to right. But the column isn't the same. A column is going to have to go from up to down. So the first thing you want to start off is with the rows. So we have the first row, and then we have the second row on the bottom. And after you're done with the rows, you want to start with the columns. So we're going to mark the first column, then go on to the second column, and for the last one is the third column, and that would be us marking the rows and columns. So after finding both the rows and the columns of the matrix above, we figured out that there were 2 rows in the matrix and that there were also 3 columns in the matrix. So another way to write rows and columns together is that rows would equal M and that columns would equal N. Another way to write it out, just to make it easier when you're trying to find rows and columns, would be that M times N would be the expression you would use for it, meaning that M equals rows while N equals columns. So after you do that, you would find out that you would have a 2 by 3 matrix. Okay, since we've been working so hard, I feel like we deserve a fun fact. So the fun fact is, when the number of rows equals the number of columns, we call this a square matrix. So now that we've done an example together, let's see if you guys can do these by yourself. So try these out. So let's go over the answers now. So in the first one, we have 1 row and we have another row, which makes it 2 rows. So now let's go columns. There's 1 column, there's 2 columns, which means there's 2 columns. We would call this matrix a 2 by 2 matrix, meaning a square matrix. So for the second one, we're going to do the same thing. So there's 1 row, and there's also another row. So there's 2 rows in this matrix. So for columns, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. And we would call this one a 2 by 4 matrix, which is not a square matrix. So now let's get into the last one, which is a 1 row, but also a 1 column. We would call this a 1 by 1 matrix, which is also a square matrix. And And that wraps up the video for today. I hope you guys found this video very helpful and you guys remember what a matrix is and what makes up a matrix. And in the end, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.